I'll define judgment based off the way it tends to be used in everyday language. To judge somebody, usually, what we mean by that is to evaluate somebody's behavior, their mentality, their appearance, their intelligence, they in their entirety. It's to evaluate the aspects of that person or the person themselves as inferior. Inferior in some way, as less than in some way. And the reason why people are so quick to judge in these days especially is absolutely because people feel inferior. And for them to feel superior, for them to feel better about themselves, for them to feel valid with who they are, they have to step on somebody's head to feel higher. They have to put somebody down to feel higher. They have to evaluate as somebody less than for them to feel more than. It's very simple, but it's also very poisonous. It's very hurtful. It's very problematic for social health. I've said this a billion times, but it always bears repeating. People act like social health doesn't matter. We act like once you have financial security, just interact however you want to interact. Let the chips fall where they may. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you say it. Passive aggressiveness doesn't matter. Not actually having civil, respectful dialogue where judgment is put on hold for a second. That doesn't matter. And the bad part about judgment as well is that it obstructs conversation. It obstructs building a bridge between you and the other and understanding. Because when you categorize somebody as instantly inferior for whatever reason, then therefore their words have no credibility. You're not in this dispassionate place, this place of neutrality for a second, this place of patience to see whether or not to evaluate the merit of someone's logic, of their perspective. You're not giving them a shot. There's no charitability. Instead, when somebody has no credibility, when you judge their approach to life or their behavior, their mentality is inferior instantly, then there's nothing, what more can be said? How can any kind of reconciliation occur when you think you're superior and the other person's inferior? And again, the corrosive thing about it is that usually the person who's banging that gavel so instantly, so easily, what they're doing is they are ensuring that their sense of self, their ego, this idea of who they are, whether wrong or right, and oftentimes very, 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 very wrong, they're ensuring that it remains intact, that the integrity of their perception of themselves remains intact. This won't do. This is why so many people in my life, I'm done. I'm not tolerating this kind of nonsense anymore. I've realized the breed of human that I am. What is he saying? Oh, he's crazy. He's an alien. What? The breed of human that I am is very much so a feeler, an empath, whatever you want to call it. I've never heard a definition that I like. I don't feel like I fit any category that I've ever heard. But what I'm saying is, I can't act like I'm blind to people's intentions, to people's desire for me to be under their thumb, for me to be inferior and for them to be superior. No. In my view, even a child has the potential to be more credible than an adult, more credible than me. If a child makes sense, then a child makes sense. There is no, I'm older, you're younger, you're stupid. That doesn't, I don't roll like that. I've heard children speak great wisdom. And most of the time I've heard children speak great nonsense. Fine. But it needs to be taken with each instance of logic, with each instance of profession. Our dismissal of people and our desire for them to be inferior so instantly with a quick mind, with a kind of shoot from the hip, boom, you're inferior, is largely due to mental laziness. We lack the patience. We lack the ability to simultaneously juggle ideas. We clearly lack, and you see it in our political climate right now and everything, we clearly lack the mental energy to delve into nuance. To understand that some things, many things, damn near everything, is not black and white. When I was younger, the nonsense I spotted was that I thought things were black and white. I thought they were black and white. Obviously they're not. That was because I was too simple-minded to see. But there's a lot of complexity to damn near every scenario, to damn near every situation where there's a conflict. There's specificity. There's precision that needs to be tackled. But that's too much. Boring, 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 boring. I probably already lost people. Just thinking about it is probably exhausting. Let me tell you something. When you open a book and try to read a book, many people do this. When they open a book and read, you get sleepy. You know why you get sleepy? Because your mind is fucking tired. You're tired. A lot of people, when they try to sit down and meditate, they fall asleep. You know why you fall asleep? Because you're actually tired. We're so tired. We're so fatigued. We're so exhausted. We don't even fucking realize it. And yet, we're so tired. We're so unhealthy in all these other regards. But we think we're geniuses. We think our analysis, our assessment of people is so accurate. People should think less of themselves first, and then see if their criticism if there's any validity to it, and then from there you can work your way up. I think about my shittiness constantly. Now you might say you might presume that's like, oh, don't self-loathe. I'm not talking about self-loathing. I'm talking about everything that I just mentioned that other people do, I'm also capable of. It's in me as well to want to judge somebody so quickly in certain modes, especially when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling unsuccessful, when I'm just not in a good mood. Everybody can get it. Everyone sucks. Now, I ain't gonna lie. At my best, I still think everyone sucks, but I don't think they suck in any kind of fateful way. Any kind of way that means that they're destined to be sucky forever. What I mean is, they suck because there's this willingness there to suck. They don't want to reflect upon any of their shit, and that's why they suck. It's not intrinsic necessarily. It's not something that they can't do something about. And that is that paranoia. That's the presumption, the unconscious presumption, because people aren't even articulating this consciously in their mind. They have this fear that if they admit something, badness will happen, that now they themselves, in their entirety, they're inferior. But that's not the case. But acknowledging your crappiness, acknowledging that you're susceptible to wrongly assessing people, to assessing people in ways that are negative, to make you feel good. Most of the negative shit we do to other people, most of when we look at, most of the time when we're putting people down, we're doing it because we want to feel, it makes us feel good. It makes our little friend groups feel good. It justifies and validates you to say somebody is this, somebody is that. You know, there's 3 people that come to mind that I know personally. That these 3 people in their life, their objective is just to be healthy. And I don't mean healthy maybe in the way that you're used to. I'm talking about holistically. I mean like they want a functionality, they want a harmony, they want a fluidity, they want an energy, and they want a positivity. And they want to continue to grow and feel empowered, and just, again, what they essentially pursue is harmony within themselves and harmony with others. These 3 people that I'm thinking about, I've never known them to seek out other people's destruction. to just instantly criticize people. They all have their faults in some kind of way at whatever moment. But they always make strides to be as charitable, to be as generous, to be as understanding as possible. And I never hear these three people that I'm thinking about in my mind do that Insta Judgement thing. Consider people inferior just because. Make fun of somebody just to feel better about themselves. They don't do that. And nor at my best do I. And notice I say at my best. Because again, I have to emphasize, I'm not naturally a person who doesn't feel that inclination. But there's things that you can do to better yourself and to get to know yourself and to be honest with yourself, where you don't feel that impulse, that urge to want to put people down, to want to judge them, to want to say they're inferior, to make yourself feel good. A lot of people don't deserve your analysis. A lot of times your analysis is so wrong, and it's incomplete. The information you have is utterly incomplete. I'm learning more and more, and I'm very proud of myself. I'm happy with myself. I'm learning more and more how to, I'll tell you this. What I've learned, man, and this is a sad, inconvenient truth. What I've learned is that no matter how wrong of an idea people have of me, because so many people throughout my life, throughout my recent life, have had such a wrong idea about me, such an egregiously wrong idea about why I do what I do, why I am what I am, or even who I am. Wrong, completely and utterly wrong. No information except their imagination. And you know, despite that, you know what I'm learning, man? I've come to the frightening conclusion that I'm the decisive element. That's a quote. I love that quote. But I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. No matter what people do think of you or what people think of me, I gotta admit that it's up to me. I do have the ultimate choice of giving a damn. Now the problem is, when I don't give a damn, that means that they're no longer a factor in my life. And I'm okay with that. Because I ain't gonna lie. If you don't love me, then I don't see why I should go out my way to love you. If you don't want to understand me, I don't see why I should go out my way to understand you. I'll be kind to you, respectful to you, civil towards you. But if you can't bring understanding to the table, then I don't want to be at the table. But I still think we should encourage and urge each other to not be so judgmental, to try to seek a higher standard of behavior, a higher standard of thinking, to pursue reflection. We should be putting pressure on each other to not bang that gavel so easily. But ultimately, even if people want to stick to their guns, even if they want to have the dual gavels, fuck everybody, all of you are inferior, fine. But many of us, you don't have to have them in your life. And it sucks, but you know what? You matter. You matter so much. And it's kind of like with what they say on the airplane. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. And if people are constantly trying to pull it off of you and saying, no, don't put it on. Nah, man, I'm putting it on. My life matters. Me at an individual level, I'm very important to me at the very least. And you at least have to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and believe in yourself. And that's how I feel. And it's not about hating them, but it is about not taking them seriously anymore. It is about having a standard. That's my belief anyway. Have a standard. Have a standard. Have a standard. Have a standard.